It's KarKix. Classics, custom, sports cars and trucks, plus news, great places to go, and products you'll love. Don't forget to check us out on the web at KarKix.com. That's KarKix.com, and on Facebook and Twitter. Now, here's the host of KarKix, Bob Lang.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to KarKix. I'm Bob Lang. The Barrett-Jackson auction's over, but the lesson reinforced is that classic cars are not just a hobby, but an investment that can pay off. It seems incredible to me that there are funds, mutual funds, in England and Germany devoted to classic car investing, but not in the USA so far. Pink Floyd drummer Nick Mason helped an investment group that aimed to buy $150 million worth of classic cars and make annual returns of 15%. Now, Mason's an auto enthusiast who's competed 5 times in the Le Mans 24-hour race. He is an expert in so many aspects of automobiles. He is on the advisory board of IGA Automobile LP, which began to buy the finest models by top marks last year. Now, his garage has Aston Martins, Bentleys, Bugattis, Jaguars, Ferraris, and nice Ferraris, like a 250 GTO, and Porsches, including the 962. This is the first classic car fund that's purely for financial returns rather than passion. Well, except maybe in Nick's case. They're looking for a straightforward in-and-out return on assets. Okay, I've just said that, and now a shudder has run down my neck. Because we somewhat normal people might never be able to afford a classic if this runs wild and spreads down market. Investors could see the marketplace manipulated by funds that simply work the class and then move on to the next. For example, right now, classic pickup trucks seem to be doing pretty well at the auctions, a little better than they used to. Okay, well, if we have funds in the marketplace, manipulating the marketplace, perhaps by putting more into, competing against each other at the auctions in a, normal and capitalist competitive way, which is okay. But I mean, for the average guy who used to be able to go in and buy a half-decent pickup truck for $10,000 to $15,000, that may not be the case if the funds become a factor in the auction place. I think most of these auctions, though, that will be handled by funds are going to wind up being private transactions, but placed into the fund. So I think the AMC Pacer market is safe for now, okay? Exceptional sports cars are making good record prices, encouraging wealthy individuals to buy or sell these gems while they check the performance of financial markets. Still, some are watching to see if a car fund can avoid the pitfalls that other investment groups like wine, art, and whiskey not all have succeeded over the long term. Hagerty's Cars That Matter Blue Chip Index, based on the values of the 25 most collectible post-war vehicles, has increased 67% from September 2006 to the end of 2010. Over the same period, Standard & Poor's fell 5.9%. So the blood is in the water. The IGA fund is a closed-end partnership, and it takes $500,000 to ante up. And during a 3-year investment period, they're going to aim to acquire a collection of between 20 and 40 trophy-mark vehicles. So their penetration in numbers of the market won't be great. Distinguished race ownership or ownership histories will factor prominently in what they're looking for. Stuff like Ferrari 250 GTOs, maybe an Aston Martin DB4 Zagato, Ford GT40s, stuff like that. Porsche 917s, one of my favorites from my childhood. Those are among the models identified in the promotional brochure as potential acquisition targets. To give you an idea what some of these cars that they're after, one of the 20 to 40 trophy marks that they're going to be after go for, last year a Ferrari GTO, one of only 36 produced, sold privately for $26 million. Double the 1960s Le Mans racer price in 2005. They're looking for iconic cars. So those of us trying to pick up a Chevelle 327 automatic are probably safe. But the guys are going to be battling over the Zagato, the DB4 Aston Martin Zagatos for sure. Oh, see, my staff is waving at me to stop drinking so much coffee. Okay, the car of the same type that won Le Mans 4 straight years failed to sell at auction against an estimate of £900,000 to £1.1 million. So it isn't a perfect marketplace for something like a mutual fund. And I think they'll find, as time goes on, that it works pretty much like the other collectible marketplaces. So I think we're okay, guys. Keep digging. You always want to find them in a barn anyway. Good time to plug my friend Jesse Mortensen over at barnfinds.com. Go check that site out if you haven't yet. China and India are not big players in the classic car market yet. We'll see these markets add to demand in the years ahead. So it pays to pay attention. If you're into classic cars, you're listening to this show, you're going to do that anyway. But it's interesting to see that growth in the mutual fund arena to include classic cars. And it denotes that if you are thinking about going out this year and picking up that special car you've always dreamed of, this may be the year to do it because the market is pointing up. But could even Joe Sixpack pass up the opportunity to invest in a classic car mutual fund that was run or endorsed by, say, Fidelity, Vanguard? How about one by Barrett Jackson? The discussion continues on the KarKix Facebook page and at KarKix.com. More in a moment.
Hey, and don't forget to mention us when you visit our sponsors, okay? Time for a look in the KarKix Toolbox.
In the toolbox today, a trio of handy tools for working on any car, truck, or bike. Gunk Engine Products. Gunk originally started as a degreaser called Engine Bright. As the story goes, the developer of Engine Bright was a rider, a motorcycle enthusiast, who was asked by a fellow rider to give me some of that gunk to get the grease off my bike, or something to that effect. From then on, the product was referred to as Gunk. And for more than 50 years, Gunk has been a most trusted name in cleaning and degreasing and has provided, solutions to tackle the toughest grease, grime, and gunk throughout the garage. If you haven't done an engine cleaning in a while, or if you've never done one, you might wonder why do it at all. Well, it's good to clean off built-up oil and grease from areas around your engine that could cause heat spots. They have the potential to reduce the life and efficiency of your engine. Now, that's your expensive, gee, I could have bought a hot tub instead of replacing my engine we're talking about. A few bucks for a can of gunk could help you spot trouble before it gets serious. This is especially important for the cars we don't necessarily hold in as high esteem as our fun mobiles. Our daily drivers, they need some love too. If you clean its engine with foamy engine cleaner after each winter, you'll keep your engine free from salt and debris that can cause corrosion on vital engine parts. You know the parts, the ones that make you say at the parts counter, that little part is how much? After a degrease of your new barn find, you can use Gunk Foamy Engine Cleaner. It's specifically formulated to remove heavy dirt and road grime from cars, trucks, campers, RVs, ATVs, boat engines, and your power equipment too. I have seen some funky air compressors in garages. Don't let friends and family see that stuff. You know the feeling you get when you walk into a clean shop? Well, it's the same looking under the hood. Gunk Engine Protector is an engine detailer and protector that you follow up with. It leaves your engine with a protective layer of shine, and that's the way you want your gear to look. The outside can look like a star, but if you don't finish the job under the hood, it's like opening a cookie jar and finding something other than cookies in there. Get your toolbox together with Gunk Degreaser, Foamy Engine Cleaner, and Gunk Engine Protector. And that's today's KarKix Toolbox.
Let's peek in the KarKix showroom.
In the KarKix showroom today, the new Ford Shelby GT500 Mustang for 2013. Ford Motor Company unveiled the 200-mile-an-hour Mustang in Los Angeles. It absolutely stole the show. The new Shelby is the most powerful production V8 engine in the world. It's powered by an aluminum 5.8 supercharged V8, producing 650 horsepower off the Ford dealer's showroom floor. Jamal Hamidi, Ford Motor Company's SVT chief engineer, says this is the ultimate production Ford Mustang.
It absolutely is the most powerful, and it really just the ultimate Mustang that you can buy off a showroom floor with a full factory warranty. Nothing that we've ever done has really approached the performance levels in the Mustang lineup of this car.
Well, now Ford has two what I call supercars in the showroom, the Boss 302 and the Shelby GT500. Will one hurt the other's sales?
What we wanted to do is maintain separation in the lineup. When we started looking at ways to do that and keeping the Shelby clearly separated from the Boss, that drove a lot of the power and the handling changes. The Boss is 444 horsepower. This car is now 650 horsepower.
Mustang has a huge following. What do you think the response will be from the faithful?
There are thousands and thousands of loyal customers out there right now, and really what we wanted to do was bring them back to the showroom and give them a very compelling reason to upgrade to the latest and greatest Shelby.
Less unsprung weight, better downforce. There are a lot of race components on the GT500, but how many are standard and how many are options?
And what we've done for the 13 cars, we've made all of the content of the prior performance package standard. So you get the forged wheels, tires, the Gen 2 Supercar F1 Goodyear's standard, and the suspension tuning of the performance package. That comes standard. And then what we did was to take another step forward is we created a new performance package for 13, which incorporates Bilstein electric dampers and a Torsen rear limited slip differential.
I'd like to know how Ford created a bona fide supercar with a 650 horsepower engine and avoided the Fed's gas guzzler taxes.
So what we did is the gearing that we implemented on this car helps a lot. We increased the compression ratio. That helps fuel economy quite a bit. And we worked a lot on the engine calibration to absolutely minimize the fuel consumption.
Jamal and his team at SVT continue to make Ford history. The 2013 Ford Shelby GT500 will be built in Flat Rock, Michigan, and in showrooms by late spring, early summer next year.
Don't forget to tell our sponsors that you heard about them on KarKix. That's how we keep the show rolling. We'll be right back with more KarKix.
It's the KarKix Car Cap, a great ball cap for just $10. You can be a part of the ruling elite with your KarKix Car Cap. Stop being laughed at by your mom. Get the hat. Just $10 plus tax and handling, and an agent of a semi-governmental agency will deliver it to wherever you get your U.S. mail. Get the KarKix Car Cap today at KarKix.com. That's KarKix.com. Just because your special vehicle was born with less than a perfect suspension doesn't mean it has to stay that way. You'll find the latest improvements in ride technology at Ride Tech. The road-hugging stance, the comfortable and responsive ride, the adjustable ride height and articulation. These are just a few of the reasons you want an air suspension. Follow the lead of professional installers across the country and count on Ride Tech for your complete air suspension solutions. With a Ride Tech suspension, you have a huge range of tunability for load capacity and spring rate right at your fingertips. No tools or component changes needed. You can literally compress weeks of tuning into a few minutes with a Ride Tech air suspension that's adjustable from within the car. Muscle cars, street rods, customs, trucks, even ATVs can benefit from Ride Tech's quality and innovation. Ride Tech's extensive research and development department keeps the company on the leading edge of automotive technology, resulting in complete systems and quality kits that are durable, reliable, and efficient. Get the handling your car deserves today at ridetech.com. Find your nearby Ride Tech dealer at ridetech.com. The Blackhawk Automotive Galleries are like no place you've ever experienced. Located an hour southeast of San Francisco in Danville, California, the Blackhawk encompasses nearly 70,000 square feet. With 4 exhibition galleries, an automotive reference library, and a museum store, plus a special events area and meeting room. The Blackhawk is a Smithsonian affiliate museum, open Wednesday through Sunday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Learn more about the Blackhawk at blackhawkmuseum.org. See you there. Happy 100th to Chevrolet, and by the way, also to the state of New Mexico, which is also celebrating its 100th this year. I'd like to mention an excellent documentary on Chevrolet, though. It's at ChevyMall.com for just $6 plus shipping. Chevy 100 chronicles the voyage of Chevy's rise and fall and its Phoenix-like return. Thanks, taxpayers. In 1891, a man named William Morrison made an electric carriage that he drove through Des Moines, Iowa. A couple of years later, in 1893, in Springfield, Massachusetts, Frank Duryea was showing off his motorized truck using an internal combustion engine. The first companies to produce automobiles for the public market came around 1896, and at the same time, Ransom Olds was kind of playing with the idea up in Detroit. Now, he didn't actually start mass-producing automobiles until 1901, and that was the curved dash Olds, although he'd been tinkering since the mid-1890s. Since that genesis in 1896, it's estimated that over 1,500 automobile makers have operated in the U.S. The sheer number of competitors has resulted in a lot of power struggles. Consequently, larger, more powerful companies bought up smaller companies. Names like Alfred Sloan, Ransom Olds, Billy Durant, and Henry Ford became prominent in Detroit. And with the automobile, electric or internal combustion, extreme and permanent change came to American culture and beyond as a result of the automobile's entrance into modern life. We probably don't think about it much now, but think back. Beginning in the 1920s, rural families were no longer isolated from the larger communities, which had implications on their education, on their commerce, and even the agriculture. Urban Americans, they used their newfound mobility to escape the dirt and noise and congestion of city life, at least temporarily, and began outdoor pursuits, like camping, hunting, and fishing. Those all gained popularity as leisure activities as the automobile advanced. The automobile also brought us indebtedness. It became an acceptable part of life, both due to the car payment that had been introduced during the early days of the industry, and later through credit cards issued by gasoline companies. The growth of suburban communities was another change that American culture experienced as the suburbs grew and Americans began to commute by car. As more Americans began to commute, city congestion and scarce downtown parking meant that businesses moved to the city outskirts, where parking lots could be built, and congestion was not a concern. Of course, then you needed road repairs and improvements. They became a larger responsibility for local governments, and ultimately a gas tax was levied in order to raise the necessary funds to maintain those roads. Another leap in development brought by the automobile was the expansion of tourism. It developed as a result of the auto industry with campsites and motor lodges and restaurants and tourist attractions, rattlesnake villages, curio stands, all waiting to feed, clothe, and entertain the motorist as far as the road would go. All it needed now was an interstate system to be the spark in the gas shack. And as the highway system grew and suburbia sprawled, Chevy stayed ahead of the competing car companies over the years by creating things like automatic transmissions, electric headlamps, and power steering to the lower end of the product line at low cost. Chevy also planted itself firmly in American culture. It was perceived as the working man's car and stylized its way into the hearts of Americans with some incredible designs. As mass media developed, jingles and slogans mentioned the brand in radio and television, and music mentioned Chevys in more than, hundreds of songs. No automotive brand has come close to the love that Chevy got from its customers, especially in the 50s and 60s. Think about the 55 to 57 Chevys, the advent and growth of the Corvette, the Chevelle and Malibu, the Camaro. These were cars of the times. The hot car from the mid-50s to the end of the 60s was a Chevy. It was a car for the aspiring American lower and middle classes yearning to see the USA in a Chevrolet. Of course, in the 70s, it began cranking out nondescript cars with horrible motors and transmissions, but so did other U.S. makers, giving foreign-owned car companies a strong presence in the country. Now it's making a comeback, selling as a global brand. 60% of its sales come from outside the United States. And it's doing it with arguably better quality vehicles. But imagine making over 204 million cars and trucks over your company's life history. Chevy gave us the Suburban and put its mark on the sport utility vehicle. And they created an electric car with a generator on board to keep it going when the batteries die. It's called the Volt. So as Chevy celebrates its centennial, we'll say thanks for all the great cars that have come our way. And note of sadness to those that have not been able to stick around for the end of the party. I particularly will miss Pontiac with some of the fantastic rides that they've provided me. So congratulations, Chevrolet. In this day and age, just surviving is an accomplishment. Happy birthday. Back in a moment with more KarKix.
Time to open up the KarKix travel guide.
We're talking to Mark Roman about his recent trip to California. Mark saw some of the most incredible automotive museums and automobiles in the world. Mark, tell us which museum was the best.
It's hard to make a judgment that way, but each one has something in its own right. And so if you go into it that way, you're not going to be disappointed by any of the museums. Favorite-wise, I'd have to go with the Blackhawk, maybe because I've been wanting to see that, and I had not seen it before. The Peterson, this is trip number 5 for me to the Peterson, so I pretty much know what I'm going to see when I walk into there. I know my way around it. They almost know my name when I walk in there.
The Peterson is kind of like Mecca. I mean, it's in L.A., the car central of the universe, and, lots of big things happen at the Peterson. What was the list of the 5? What were the 5 museums you got to see?
Well, the first one I went to see was up in Danville, California. That's called the Blackhawk Museum. It's part of the Smithsonian Institution, and that in its own self is worth the trip. From there, I actually headed over to Reno and saw the National Automobile Museum, and that was part of the Bill Harrah collection of Harrah's Casino.
Oh, very famous.
Oh, my gosh. That is just an eye-opener. I mean, the first time I'd ever gone to Reno and not go to gamble, but you're going actually to see. Nobody believes me that I went to Reno to look at cars. I really don't. And from there, they said, well, you got to make your trip back through the Bay Area and down into L.A. to Sylmar and stop at the Nethercutt collection. And that in itself had a lot of rarities, and their focus is more of the 20s, the 30s, and the 40s, and a little bit out of the 50s as well.
That is such a beautiful setting to see not only the cars, but some of the other objects that they've collected from that period period. The Nethercut is absolutely breathtaking with the columns and the Dietrich design vehicles that you see there.
Yeah, they really did. And what amazed me as well is they had an entire row of nothing but hood ornaments. And these things were just, intricate work, delicate detail from back in the 20s and the 30s. Whatever really happened to the hood ornament? I mean, they don't have one anymore other than maybe Mercedes.
Yeah, and they vanished underneath the hood. They used to just serve a purpose as a radiator cap.
They really did, and the radiators have gone internal now, and you just don't see those anymore. The thing about the Nethercut collection, actually, there's a couple things about it. Number one, it's a free collection. You don't have to pay a cent, not a red penny, to go and see this thing.
It's awesome.
It's something that was, I guess, in the will with the Nethercuts whenever they put this together. I went and started about 9 in the morning to see that, and give yourself a good half day to at least see that. And then from there, if you can make it down to the Peterson Automotive Museum, and that's, another half day, or if you really want to go in depth, I mean, any of these museums you can spend an entire day at, but it's which one that you want to really gravitate to, and that's the great thing. It's up to you. I mean, there's something to see for everybody. And then from there, after the Peterson, I had to head home. I didn't take a plane to see these cars. I took a car to see these cars. So I went back up through Laughlin and saw Don Laughlin's collection. And he's got a nice museum there as well, too. It's in 2 different levels. There's one inside his casino. There's one also outside his casino. But I saw things there that I just loved, from a 52 months to, a lot of the muscle cars. I mean, there's something for everybody at each and every one of these museums. And that's the great thing about it.
Well, let's go ahead and talk about some of the cars you saw. And if you want to start from Don Laughlin's collection and work your way up the coast, that's cool.
Okay. Well, why don't we do that? Once again, Laughlin's collection, I think it's something that was interesting from the fact that a lot of them aren't his, but they're donated and they're on display. So while he does have a few that he has himself, he's been nice enough to take in people's different collections and just want to say, hey, I've got this beautiful piece of iron, and how would you like to come and see this? And some of the things that I saw there were a 52 months. You ever heard of Madman Months, Bob?
No, I got to confess I did not.
Actually, Madman Months from the Midwest back in the 50s, he did some collaborations with the Curtis, and he was a guy that made all his money with basically the 8-track, the Months 8-track tape.
Now I've connected.
Some of the car stereos that way, but that's where he actually gained all his money, and then he said, well, I'm actually going to put some of these and produce some of them. So back in the 50s, he made these cars that were basically sold for $5,000 but took $8,000 to make. So he only made a few of them before he went broke on them. But, in itself, they're rightfully so. They're just a great display that way. When you walk in to see the collection from Don Laughlin, he's got a 1907 REO Runabout there. If you've ever heard of REO Speedwagon, that's actually a truck.
Yes.
It really is from there. He had a 1929 Franklin. You can walk all the way through these things. A 41 Hollywood Graham, which was a 6-cylinder supercharged. He had it there with only 37,000 miles on it. The odometer goes to 100, but the car goes to 120. So
I wonder if that was still the same Graham from Graham Page, the old automaker.
I think it was. It was on display courtesy of Ricker Motors in Whittier, California. Some of the curves on some of these things I'd never seen before. He's got a 34 Ford tow truck. I know you'd like something like that.
I'd love something like that.
They also had a fire truck, one of the first fire trucks ever, which is a Torrent number 1. Basically, it looks like 2 wheels and a little bit of hose in between it, but this is what they actually started with way back when.
Now, prior to that, you saw the Peterson in L.A., and that I remember seeing the last time I was over there. I remember seeing some of Barris's work, Chuck Barris's work, as well as the old and classic and some Rolls-Royce modern as well as old. Yeah,
the thing about the Peterson, it's always changing. George Barris, the last time I was there too, they had a great collection on some of the vehicles that he did. Now, George Barris did a lot of the vehicles such as the Munsters. He did 2 or 3 of them for that show. He did the main one that they did, and also Grandpa had a casket that he used to put at the drag races. So those are some of the ones that he's done. George Barris also did the Monkey Mobile. A lot of the vehicles that were custom made for movies and for a lot of the shows out out of the 60s, the 70s. I think he did some vehicles for Charlie's Angels. So,
well, as a kid, I remember collecting the cards that had the photographs of all those cars on them, which is the way I fed my habit when I was a kid.
You know, the great thing, too, is George Barris is still doing it out there. And I think that's a lot of where people like Chip Foose got their influences by seeing those growing up, saying, hey, I'd like to do something like that.
It was just so nice to be able to see what we focus on at KarKix, and that is classic cars, custom cars, and hot rods. And in the Peterson, you get all of that.
Oh, I saw a beautiful 1959 Cadillac, just beautiful, bright red, one of the nicest ones I'd ever seen. And you can go right up to these things. That thing didn't even have any ropes around it, so you can't really touch them, but you can get as close as you possibly can to these, and they really welcome that. I mean, they put these displays up to where you can get as close as possible, and something I like about the Peterson is you can see some of the interiors on these cars as well, too. It's not just looking from 10 foot back, but you're getting right up on them.
One of these days I'll make it to the swap meet. Haven't made it yet, but they have that as well as, well, hopefully our end of the year party will be there as well. So what was the next previous trip up the hill? Was that the Blackhawk?
Well, at the Blackhawk, I'd seen that maybe 10 years ago from the outside, but had never been inside. I was there on a day that it was actually closed. So that was the first one that I really wanted to get back to. And when you walk through there, you know, the great thing about all these museums is it gives us something to do while the wives go and do their shopping. And, you know, if you're down on Wilshire and you're looking at the Peterson and she's up on a Rodeo Drive just kind of gawking and looking through the windows and trying to go buy something there.
Star spotting.
We can go actually spend our afternoons at something that we like, and that's at the Peterson. But the Blackhawk itself, it is inside a really nice shopping center or outdoor mall. So she can go do things if she doesn't want to look at cars, and we can spend the afternoon, and the whole family's happy that way. But the Blackhawk, when you walk through there, it almost looks like something itself that's a piece of art. The building, my gosh, it's statuesque when you walk through there.
How did the Blackhawk start, do you know?
Started back in 1989 is when the Blackhawk opened their doors, and ever since then they've grown. But that has a lot of ties to the Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance that they put on in August every year. In fact, some of the vehicles that are at that museum have made, grand prize and taken the trophies home from Pebble Beach.
Do you recall which ones by any chance? One of them?
Actually, there's one that's a 1937 Rolls-Royce Phantom, I believe. And that's one that actually took away awards back in, I believe, 2003 or 2004. So you're going to get to see some of the things that you might not be out there on that particular week at the Pebble Beach. That's something in itself to go see. But if you can't, for one reason or another, make it, you're still going to be able to see a lot of those vehicles show up down there.
That's a rare opportunity.
Now, another thing about the Blackhawk as well, too, is when you go to the Pebble Beach and they walk around and they judge the cars that are there, the judges actually go to the Blackhawk where they actually practice on judging because they feel the ones that are at the Blackhawk, there's nothing better than that. So they set the criteria from those vehicles and work their way down.
I'll bet that meeting room over there at the Blackhawk is pretty stuffed with activity during that week.
Oh my gosh, it really is. And in fact, I believe some of the people from the Blackhawk go down and are actually judges there as well, too. So, being able to go back and forth, you've got shows going on at Pebble Beach down at Monterey, and then they also have presentations and exhibitions going on up there as well, too. So it's a fun-filled week for everybody.
If you go to the blackhawk.org website, I think you'll see go to the docents page, and you'll see quite a crew of people that make that place operate the way it does.
Oh, you really will. And I believe they have over 100 docents that work there, docents that actually work there. So any time that you walk in there, you can meet up with somebody that can give you a tour, and some of them specialize in a particular type of vehicle, so they can tell you more about the Ferraris. The other ones can tell you more about the Fords that are there, or the Fire Arrows. So each one kind of grabs onto the vehicles that they like, and you're going to find out about them.
Like so many people involved in this hobby, they're very passionate about what they do.
Oh, they really are, and that's the great thing about it. They can't wait for you to ask questions about these vehicles, and they're very, very knowledgeable too. And that's the one thing that you're going to walk away with is just a world of knowledge. Whether it's going to be a 63 ISO Griffo, which is basically an Italian-bodied car that has a Chevrolet engine in it. So you're gonna find things that you might have seen in some of the car mags, but when you see these things in person, I mean, the pictures just don't do them justice.
And then you were at the National in Reno. And what were some of the cars you saw up at in Reno?
Well, glad you asked, because I saw Frank Sinatra's dual Ghia.
Oh my
gosh, a 6.4 Ghia that all the Rat Pack used to drive back then. That's what they used to want to drive. In fact, I had recently watched a show that Sinatra had done where he drives up and it's dark at night. He drives up in this dual Ghia and he gets out, walks up the steps, opens up the door, and then walks out on the stage and starts singing. But that was his specialty car that he drove before his Eldorado came to be in '67.
The dual Ghia is an incredible car on its own. And then you add in the mystique of the Rat Pack, and it's just the outrageous factor goes over the top.
Now, another one they actually had was Sammy Davis Jr.'s. Actually, he did a Duesenberg that wasn't a Duesenberg, but they did a kind of a retro like they do with the MGs that were actually in a Volkswagen chassis. He had his Duesenberg up there.
Wow. And yeah, the Auburns they did for a while, the Bowtails, they had replicas, and there are quite a few of them around. What's amazing is I, in the back in the day, used to think, oh, well, the clone replica cars aren't really going to bring any value. Now, today, they're really commanding prices.
Yeah, they really are, and it's amazing how they've gone up in value. I really got to tip my hat to Bill Hara. He passed away, I think, in 78 or 79, but before that, he amassed one of the largest collections of automotive, memorabilia to just vehicles anywhere on the West Coast or anywhere in the country. And people come from far and wide to see that. So, if you're heading to Reno isn't what it used to be in the way of gambling, because you've got all the Indian casinos now. You can go down the street and see a casino, but the true reason to go to Reno is to go to see the National Automobile Museum, and also hot August nights. That's where all the cars come out and all the hot rods and everything once a year in Reno for that week.
It's like mid-August, and it is a huge event.
Oh my gosh, that town just really comes to life. I'm hoping to get there. In fact, I will get there, hell or high water this year.
Yeah, hopefully KarKix will have a presence at many events this year, and you'll just have to stay tuned to see which ones we make it to.
Oh, you really do, but from a 23 Maxwell to a dual Ghia and everything in between. I saw a prototype for a 61 Fiat sitting there that I'd seen in numerous, books, but I'd never seen in person, and that's where it just really sets.
It's kind of funny. We had the period back then where you had Italian bodybuilders grabbing Chrysler and Chevrolet V8s and stuffing them in. Now we have Chrysler, who is going to bring the Alfa Romeo to the United States as the Dodge Dart.
Well, they are. They're bringing the Alfa as the Dodge Dart. Now, another thing, too, is since Chrysler has tied in with Fiat, is Chrysler's actually helping to save brands like Lancia. Lancia is actually releasing their latest vehicle, which is basically a Chrysler 300. So, it serves its purpose in one way or another, that it's actually helping to bring that brand back to life. They're marrying, the American ingenuity with the Italian body design, and that's what's happening.
Good things are coming.
There really is. Now, same thing happened with the Cadillac Alante when Pininfarina actually did the body, but that's still a chassis from GM, and it's the best of both worlds.
Yeah. It's a really great time, not just to look back at what great automotive heritage is out there, but also to look forward at what's up ahead.
Well, I tell you, it's a great time in automotive. I mean, there's things that just, I'm waiting to see what's going to happen. It's almost like computers. When you buy something today, in another year or two, when they take that technology and development and research and they take it that much further, it's going to be something even better than what you have today.
We've been talking with Mark Roman about his bucket list trip to California. Mark is a contributing editor for KarKix and our website as well as our radio program, and you're going to hear a lot more from Mark in the days and weeks and years ahead. So stay with us, and KarKix will return after this. Hagerty provides specialty insurance for more classic cars than anyone else in the world. They specialize in classic and collector cars. Since that's all they do, they're able to focus all their attention on you, your collection, and your particular needs, your usage, your interests. They offer a guaranteed value policy that allows you to cover your car for what it's worth, and you receive every cent of your car's insured value in the event of a covered total loss. Hagerty's service and knowledge are unparalleled. They understand the collector car market and the importance of insuring your car for its true value, and they They know how to handle claims on damage to your classic cars. For example, they have a parts specialist on staff whose only job is to track down the perfect replacement part. Hagerty is made up of people who own collector vehicles, closely follow the market, and know the history of the auto industry. They've experienced the joys and challenges of restoration and attend every car event they can get to. Contact Hagerty Insurance today and see the difference on the web at Hagerty.com or call 877-922-9701. Tell them you heard about them on KarKix.com. Just because your special vehicle was born with less than a perfect suspension doesn't mean it has to stay that way. You'll find the latest improvements in ride technology at Ride Tech. The road-hugging stance, the comfortable and responsive ride, the adjustable ride height and articulation. These are just a few of the reasons you want an air suspension. Follow the lead of professional installers across the country and count on Ride Tech for your complete air suspension solutions. With a Ride Tech suspension, you have a huge range of tunability for load capacity and spring rate right at your fingertips. No tools or component changes needed. You can literally compress weeks of tuning into a few minutes with a Ride Tech air suspension that's adjustable from within the car. Muscle cars, street rods, customs, trucks, even ATVs can benefit from Ride Tech's quality and innovation. Ride Tech's extensive research and development department keeps the company on the leading edge of automotive technology, resulting in complete systems and quality kits that are durable, reliable, and efficient. Get the handling your car deserves today at ridetech.com. Find your nearby Ride Tech dealer at ridetech.com. It's the KarKix Car Cap, a great ball cap for just $10. You can be a part of the ruling elite with your KarKix Car Cap. Stop being laughed at by your mom. Get the hat. Just $10 plus tax and handling, and an agent of a semi-governmental agency will deliver it to wherever you get your U.S. mail. Get the KarKix Car Cap today at KarKix.com. That's KarKix.com.
Coming up, we'll take a peek inside the KarKix showroom.
Whether you have one car or 30 that represent a big investment, you want it to run its best so it lasts a long, long time. Well, there's technology, new technology, that can help you do that. It's called a pulse plug. Here's why its technology should be in your engine. Until now, every gallon of gas you bought was ignited by a simple but ancient spark plug. It's outdated technology that's barely changed in 100 years. Until now, with PulseStar pulse plugs, you can change to a new, eco-friendly, advanced technology igniter to make every drop of gas burn better and cleaner. Here's how it works. Electrical energy from the engine's ignition coil is stored in the PulseStar pulse plug's built-in capacitor. At the exact moment it's needed, that energy is released at an amazingly powerful and quick 2-nanosecond high-energy pulse. The result? Improved combustion efficiency. Your vehicle burns fuel more effectively, giving you improved MPG, less emissions, and better overall drivability. Even the fashion-conscious Prius in an EPA fuel consumption lab saw notable improvements in MPG. Pulse plugs may look similar to spark plugs on the outside, but inside, the technology advances of PulseStar are evident and generates a spark with 20,000 times greater energy than any spark plug. Don't wait another tankful. You can find PulseStar pulse plugs at Advanced Auto Care, O'Reilly Auto Parts, and at any AutoZone near you. Or check us out on the web too at PulseStarPower.com. That's PULSTAR Power.com. PulseStarPower.com.
Don't forget to tell our sponsors that you heard about them on KarKix. Let's peek in the KarKix showroom.
Some of the web forums have been critical of the 2013 Chevy 427 Convertible Collector Edition. I've seen comments saying it's not as this as the Z06 and it's not as that as the ZR1. And others like me say it's great because it's not like those others. To the lucky few that get one, it will be fast, comfy, unique, and fun. Live it. Corvette celebrates 60 years of performance with a 427 convertible. Doesn't everyone like the sound of those numbers? 427. As the current generation C6 Corvette is about to end, Chevy decided to bring back the 427. So for 2013, 60 years after the first Corvette, it's back. The 2013 Corvette 427 Convertible Collector Edition. What a long name, but arguably the fastest, most capable convertible in Corvette's history. Chris Perry is the Vice President of Global Marketing and Strategy for Chevy, and he said the 2013 model year will be historic for Corvette, marking its 60th anniversary. And the final year, we couldn't think of a more fitting way to celebrate these milestones than bringing back one of the most coveted combinations in brand history, the Corvette convertible and a 427 cubic inch engine. I agree. The 60th anniversary 427 convertible made its public debut at the Barrett-Jackson Collector Car Auction in Scottsdale today and will arrive at U.S. Chevy dealers early this summer. The 427 cubic inch 7-liter engine from the Corvette Z06 is rated at 505 horsepower, 470 torque. It's the most powerful engine ever installed in a production convertible Corvette. And like the Z06, the 427 convertible is only available with a 6-speed manual transmission. The LS7 has lightweight connecting rods, titanium, and intake valves, as well as high-flow cylinder heads. Most of the stuff co-developed by the Corvette Le Mans winning GT1 engine team. It'll be assembled by hand at GM's Performance Build Center, but wait, there's more. Customers who purchase the 427 Convertible Collector Edition Corvette can get the Corvette Build Experience option and actually help assemble the engine that will power their new car. Other performance stuff includes the driveline and rear axle system from the Z06 and standard magnetic selective ride control. There are a few wheel choices too, and all of them are good. The 427 convertible also features several carbon fiber components. The raised hood, the Z06 style fenders, floor panels, and the front splitter and rocker panels. They're an option on the 427 convertible though. Here's the part that just absolutely rocks my world. The 427 convertible's curb weight is an athletic 3,355 pounds. Combined with the 505 horsepower LS7 engine, it gives the 427 convertible a power-to-weight ratio that is better than the Porsche 911 Turbo S Cabriolet, the Audi freaking R8 5.2 RSI Spider, the Aston Martin DBS Volante convertible, and a way better ratio than a Ferrari California convertible. GM promises the 427 convertible will be one of the fastest convertibles in the world, delivering an estimated 0 to 60 performance of 3.8 seconds, a quarter mile of 11.8, lateral acceleration of 1.04, and a top speed of more than 190 miles an hour. Back to my initial comments at the beginning of this. Who could possibly think that this is not enough? Wow, it would be enough for me. Happy 100th, Chevrolet. Your ship seems to be pointed in the right direction. Keep rowing. Back in a moment. Today on KarKix, we have Jesse Mortensen, who is the founder of barnfinds.com. Hi, Jesse.
Hi, Bob.
How did you come to building the website? What did you do before?
I've actually built sites for a long time. I own a business. I build other websites, and this was just something I wanted to do for fun.
So tell us a little background on your automotive history.
I always have liked cars. I think probably inherited that from my dad. He was always into automobiles and had old cars and stuff. But when I was probably 13 or 14, I bought my grandpa's car that was actually a field find. It didn't run. It was out in my uncle's field, and I dragged it home and thought I was going to restore it. Sadly, it went back to the junkyard. I never did get it going, but since then I've owned a lot of different cars. I've been into a lot of different kinds of cars. Eventually settling on European sports cars are probably my favorites, but I was into muscle cars.
What are some of the favorites that you've had in the past?
Oh, my favorites. I just had an Alfa Romeo GTV that was a lot of fun. Had a second-gen RX-7 that was fun. It was a little different, not as old, but
the RX-7 was a very fast mid-engine car. I don't think a lot of people knew about that.
Yeah, it was a fun car. It handled really well, and I still would like to get one that had a good clutch in it. So.
How long has barnfinds.com been going on?
It's only been about 6 months.
It sure has seen a lot of growth in that time. How's the site organized? How can people get around it?
Well, we divide things up into categories. So we have a barn find section, and we have race cars, project cars, and you can sort them by origin too, like the American muscle cars and German cars, all that.
What are some of the most interesting cars that you've seen on the site or that you've seen come through the site so far?
Wow, it seems like every day we have something interesting, but I always like the Aston Martin barn finds. I know we had one that was a field find, and that generated a lot of interest. There's been some user submissions that were really interesting, like there was a Jaguar E-Type that was on a trailer out in the field, and people were trying to figure out where it was, and it generated a lot of interest too. So
I think some of the comments you get are just almost as interesting as the cars.
That's right. I always read all the comments because sometimes people will add things in there that I can't know everything about a car. There's people that know everything about them, and they give us all the details. So there's a lot of interesting conversations that go on.
How do people make submissions to the site?
They can just email me at mail@barnfinds.com. On the site, there's there's a page that kind of explains it. Sometimes people submit them through Facebook too, just whatever works for them.
How can fans help out the site, make it stronger, bigger, or help you in any way?
I think just keep commenting and contributing that way, sending in submissions and just telling their friends about it. We've really grown by word of mouth. I know this summer we went down to Pebble Beach to the events there, Auto Week, and we were surprised how many people already knew about the site because they'd told friends, and it had just kind of grown on its own.
It really gives people an opportunity to tap into all the hunters out there, all the pickers out there that are looking under rocks, behind barns, and in old garages to find these special cars.
Yeah, that's right. We met a few in Pebble Beach that actually are professional barn finders, have Ferraris and things, and I won't mention any of their names, but they already knew about the site and were excited and said they were going to start sending in some of their finds, so we're looking forward to some of those.
Well, it's a lot of fun to go to barnfinds.com and read the comments, see the cars, and definitely encourage our listeners to sign up for the email and the RSS feed.
That's right. They can get daily updates. As soon as we post new cars, they come on there. So some people like to do that. If they're going to try to buy cars on eBay, they can get on there and try to get them first. So
if we see something in our local Craigslist or we see something on eBay, can we forward it to you?
Yeah, please do.
And you can get the link to barnfinds.com at KarKix.com.
KarKix will be right back.
It's the KarKix Car Cap, a great ball cap for just $10. You can be a part of the ruling elite with your KarKix Car Cap. Stop being laughed at by your mom. Get the hat. Just $10 plus tax and handling, and an agent of a semi-governmental agency will deliver it to wherever you get your U.S. mail. Get the KarKix Car Cap today at KarKix.com. That's KarKix.com.
KarKix will be right back.
Hagerty provides specialty insurance for more classic cars than anyone else in the world. They specialize in classic and collector cars. Since that's all they do, they're able to focus all their attention on you, your collection, and your particular needs, your usage, your interests. They offer a guaranteed value policy that allows you to cover your car for what it's worth, and you receive every cent of your car's insured value in the event of a covered total loss. Hagerty's service and knowledge are unparalleled. They understand the collector car market and the importance of insuring your car for its true value. And they know how to handle claims on damage to your classic cars. For example, they have a parts specialist on staff whose only job is to track down the perfect replacement part. Hagerty is made up of people who own collector vehicles, closely follow the market, and know the history of the auto industry. They've experienced the joys and challenges of restoration and attend every car event they can get to. Contact Hagerty Insurance today and see the difference on the web at Hagerty.com or call 877-922-9701. Tell them you heard about them on KarKix.com. The Blackhawk Automotive Galleries are like no place you've ever experienced. Located an hour southeast of San Francisco in Danville, California, the Blackhawk encompasses nearly 70,000 square feet. With 4 exhibition galleries, an automotive reference library, and a museum store, plus a special events area and meeting room. The Blackhawk is a Smithsonian affiliate museum, open Wednesday through Sunday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Learn more about the Blackhawk at blackhawkmuseum.org. See you there.
Time for a look in the KarKix toolbox.
In the toolbox today, a trio of handy tools for working on any car, truck, or bike. Gunk Engine Products. Gunk originally started as a degreaser called Engine Bright. As the story goes, the developer of Engine Bright was a rider, a motorcycle enthusiast, who was asked by a fellow rider to give me some of that gunk to get the grease off my bike, or something to that effect. From then on, the product was referred to as Gunk. And for more than 50 years, Gunk has been a most trusted name in cleaning and degreasing and has provided, solutions to tackle the toughest grease, grime, and gunk throughout the garage. If you haven't done an engine cleaning in a while, or if you've never done one, you might wonder why do it at all. Well, it's good to clean off built-up oil and grease from areas around your engine that could cause heat spots. They have the potential to reduce the life and efficiency of your engine. Now, that's your expensive, gee, I could have bought a hot tub instead of replacing my engine we're talking about. A few bucks for a can of gunk could help you spot trouble before it gets serious. This is especially important for the cars we don't necessarily hold in as high esteem as our fun mobiles. Our daily drivers. They need some love too. If you clean its engine with foamy engine cleaner after each winter, you'll keep your engine free from salt and debris that can cause corrosion on vital engine parts. You know the parts, the ones that make you say at the parts counter, that little part is how much? After a degrease of your new barn find, you can use Gunk Foamy Engine Cleaner. It's specifically formulated to remove heavy dirt and road grime from cars, trucks, campers, RVs, ATVs, boat engines, and your power equipment too. I have seen some funky air compressors in garages. Don't let friends and family see that stuff. You know the feeling you get when you walk into a clean shop? Well, it's the same looking under the hood. Gunk Engine Protector is an engine detailer and protector that you follow up with. It leaves your engine with a protective layer of shine, and that's the way you want your gear to look. The outside can look like a star, but if you don't finish the job under the hood, it's like opening a cookie jar and finding something other than cookies in there. Get your toolbox together with Gunk Degreaser, Foamy Engine Cleaner, and Gunk Engine Protector. And that's today's KarKix toolbox.
Time to open up the KarKix travel guide.
You're not going to believe what I have in the travel guide for you today. I mean, of all the places that we could possibly put in the travel guide, it's February, it's cold, you're in Chicago. Why would you be in Chicago in February? You'd have to be crazy to go to Chicago. Or you're going to the Chicago Auto Show. The Auto Show in Chicago is big, perhaps the biggest. I mean, LA gets the glitter, Detroit gets the big news. Chicago has the food and the music. Oh, yeah, the cars, too. Okay. The Sheraton Chicago Hotel and Towers is proud to be an official hotel partner for the Chicago Auto Show for 2012. They're located on the Chicago River, well, technically just next to it, very close to Michigan Avenue. Museum, shopping, entertainment, all that stuff. The Sheraton Chicago Hotel and Towers has spectacular views of Lake Michigan, the Chicago River, or the Chicago skyline. It has all the amenities, and as an official Chicago Auto Show hotel, they offer attendees a better rate to go in and see the show. The Hyatt is attached to it, but the Sheraton's giving you a break. This year, the night before, the First Look for Charity show is, of course, as always, formal attire, but the music is Blues Traveler. You got to love the door prizes at these charity events. The door prizes this year include a 2012 Cadillac Escalade and a 2012 SRX Cadillac. That's two cars. The event costs $250 a ticket, but 4/5 of that is deductible as a contribution to 18 local charities. The fine food and drink includes fare with Asian, European, American, and Latin influences. And being in Chicago, it's going to be good. With champagne and cocktails to fuel the fun, it should be a real fun event. That's the charity event. The next day, the show officially opens with nearly 1,000 special cars and trucks in, this is not a misquote, in 1.2 million square feet of the McCormick Place complex. Multiple world and North American introductions, a complete range of domestic and imported passenger cars and trucks, sport utility vehicles, and even experimentals and concept cars. Who's going to be there? The all-new Ford Focus Electric, the most maintenance-free Ford ever. Checking the tire pressure and filling the windshield washer fluid is about all that most Focus Electric drivers will ever need to do. The way Ford did it was fewer moving parts. That means less to worry about. GM is going to show the refreshed GMC Acadia. Chrysler's going to show the new Dodge Dart / Alfa Romeo Juliet-based compact. It's the replacement for the Caliber and roughly the size of a Civic. And the Porsche 911, the 2012 Porsche 911 will be there. Whatever didn't make it to Detroit will be there, along with the latest from all the major makers. In total, nearly 1,000 different vehicles will be on display, and additionally, attendees will have the opportunity to see numerous accessories and auto-related exhibits. Competition vehicles, project vehicles, antiques and collector cars. Vintage vehicles will be displayed by the Classic Car Club of America and by the Model T Club. The Chicago show is so big, even the DMV shows up. And you can't even buy on the show floor. You can't buy a car on the show floor. You're directed to one of the area dealers. But the Illinois Secretary of State's office has a booth where you can renew or replace your driver's license. How convenient. 2012 marks the 104th edition of the show, making the Chicago Auto Show the first in the world to reach that marker. The first annual Chicago Auto Show was in 1901, 111 years ago. The reason for the weird numbers is because the auto industry didn't make cars for the 7 years during and immediately after World War II. So there were no auto shows then. If you had to pick a time to visit Chicago, maybe it would be February. Besides the car show, Chicago has, things like a Valentine's warm-up at Cafe Absinthe before hitting the club scene. Or you could take your Chicago experience up a few notches with the Signature Room on the 95th in the John Hancock Center on Michigan Avenue. The view from the restaurant is the best in the city. Bring your thickest credit card. Chicago has the blues, too, with places like Buddy Guy's and ethnic foods like Bobox. Oh, my, that is such a great place. I can tell you from personal experience, it is authentic Polish cuisine, too. Don't get the Gwumpkis too close to your forehead or your tongue will slap your brains out. I'm warning you now here, so be careful. If you have the time while you're in Chicago, enjoy the Shed Aquarium. There's lots of incredible things there, including their big Caribbean reef. But the auto show will likely wear your shoes out, so pace yourself. Are you in an automotive-related industry? If you'd like to advertise on KarKix, we offer social media, web, and on-air opportunities to automotive-based businesses that want to be heard by this very special audience. People who take action and get things done. Auto enthusiasts with the means to use products and services provided by quality companies. We have special programming that gives you the opportunity to get your message out with more than just a 60-second ad. To find out more, use the contact page at KarKix.com. Today's show is a lot of fun. It's our 26th program, third here at Voice America Variety. Go to our Facebook page, KarKix, and let us know how we can make it better. If you're a KarKix listener, you're the car expert we want to hear from. Special thanks to our hostess, Heidi Belleville, our correspondent, Mark Roman, our publisher, Ellis Martin, and the team at Voice America Variety Channel for making it all happen. The KarKix website is headed for an overhaul soon, so catch us on Facebook and Twitter until the dust settles. And join us next week for more KarKix.
That's all for now. See you right here next time with more KarKix. KarKix is a production of Spirited USA, who is solely responsible for its content. Copyright 2011. All rights reserved. Join us on the web at KarKix.com. That's KarKix.com. And on Facebook and Twitter. Hasta la vista, baby!